All right, let me set this up. The Waldorf Astoria in Laguna Niguel, right on the California coast. This was the setting for LSI USA 2026. Every morning, starting before the sun was fully up. Every night, running well past the point where most people have already called it. And in between, hundreds of conversations happening simultaneously. Ballrooms, breakfast tables, cocktail hours, hallway corners at midnight. Dreamers finding funders. Funders finding the next big thing that's going to change medicine. Companies that don't exist yet getting their first yes. Technologies that will ultimately save lives finding the capital to actually get there. The energy in that building was electric. It was relentless. The kind of optimism you can physically feel when you walk into a room. The kind that reminds you why you chose the industry in the first place. And everywhere you turned, AI. On every stage, in every pitch deck, in every conversation about where medicine is going now and how fast it's going to get there, the message was loud and it was clear. The future is coming whether you are ready or not. And somewhere in the middle of it all, surrounded by some of the sharpest minds in medtech, watching billions of dollars chase the next breakthrough, I had a moment of absolute clarity. A moment that stopped me cold. Because while everyone around was talking about what technology is going to do next, I was watching something else happen in real time. Something that no stage presentation mentioned. Something that no pitch deck captured. Something that the algorithms and the automation and the artificial intelligence in that room, for all of its power, could not replicate. Not even close. And I thought, this is what nobody is talking about. This is the conversation that actually matters right now. That is what this episode is all about. Let's get into it. All right, welcome back to Eyes Wide, the podcast. I'm Craig Palmer, and I've got my trusty companion, Rip, here, getting ripped. So you know what that means. It's another solo session. And just for those of you that might be joining for the first time, I mean, we try to be as real as possible on this podcast. I know a lot of people say that. And like, what does that even mean? But this is about finding some brutal lessons in life and business. Zero fluff. Today, we're going to talk about something that I believe is the most important conversation in your professional life right now. And most people are getting it completely wrong. Everyone is talking about AI. Right? Everywhere you go, AI this and AI that, the disruption, the displacement, the fear. And look, I'm not here to tell you that the fear isn't real. It is. But I am here to tell you that the panic merchants have missed something crucial, something critical. And if you are a sales professional, if you're listening to this podcast right now and you are a sales professional, a sales leader, or someone who's building a career in med tech, in pharma, or medical device, this episode is going to reframe everything. So check it out. We're talking about the human premium, what it is, why it's growing, and how you either have it or you need to start building it right now. So let's go. Let me give you the numbers first, because the noise is real, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. A Fortune 500 research firm just updated its analysis, and about 93% of jobs, 93, flagged as vulnerable to AI disruption. And I'm sure that's not that difficult to comprehend. It's a monster number, but it's real. It's happening. $4.5 trillion attached to the transformation price tag. In Q1 of 2026 alone, tech companies have already cut over 45,000 jobs. Amazon, Block, Atlassian, and they are not hiding the reason. They are saying it directly. AI is the driver. Every boardroom is having the conversation. Every sales kickoff slide is all about it. Every LinkedIn field is drowning in it. And the people listening to this right now, you're feeling it. I know you are. And maybe you haven't said it out loud. Maybe you haven't admitted to it yet, or you haven't admitted to your manager or your spouse or even yourself. But somewhere in the back of your mind, the question is there. Is my profession next? Am I next? And I hear you. I see you. And I'm not going to give you false comfort, but I am going to give you the truth. And the truth is more useful than the fear. Because listen up. Because here is what the panic merchants are getting wrong. This is the counter narrative. So I opened the show with talking about the LSI conference. And those of you listening that have checked that out, or those of you listening that have heard about it, it's a great conference. It's expensive, but they have a way of making it feel like you are at the IT conference of the year. And so it's not only is it at the Waldorf, beautiful setting. If you haven't been to that hotel and you're in the area, check it out. But let me tell you how I prepared for this meeting, how I prepared for LSI. But because even before I walked into the Waldorf, I used AI to do what AI does extraordinarily well. I identified my top targets, who I needed to meet, why they mattered, what they were building, what they cared about. I could pull schedule patterns, understand the best window to approach specific people, and walk into the conference with context that would have taken me days, maybe a week, hell, maybe even a month to build manually. The intelligence was awesome. It was super impactful. That preparation did matter. And I'm not here to tell you that AI isn't useful. It absolutely is. But here is exactly where it ended. Because knowing who to talk to and knowing how to make them want to work with you, those are not the same skill, not even close. Taking curated intelligence and building a narrative around it that connects, that earns genuine interest. That makes someone lean forward. That motivates another person to want to be in your corner. That is a human act. It requires reading the room, reading the person, understanding what the person in front of you actually cares about beneath the surface, finding the thread that links your story to their reality, and delivering it with enough conviction that they feel it before they can even analyze it. AI handed me the map, no doubt, but I still had to take the journey myself. So let's be precise about what we're actually talking about here today, because this is not an AI versus human conversation. That framing is wrong, and it's making people defensive when they should be getting sharper. They should be embracing it, because this is an AI then human conversation. The sequence is everything. AI owns the process of operations of sales. It does not own the practice of it. The sequencing, the data, the follow-up cadence, the personalization at scale, surface level discovery, template generation. I could go on and on and on. AI is going to do all of that better, way faster, and way cheaper than any rep who is relying on those things as their primary value. But here is what it cannot do. It cannot read the room in a boardroom. When the CFO and the CMO are clearly not aligned to you, and you have 30 seconds to decide whether to push forward or pull back, it cannot navigate the politics of a multi-stakeholder med device deal where 3 people have authority, 2 of them have history, and 1 of them doesn't want this to work. It cannot sit across from a surgeon who just had a brutal week and know not from data, but from instinct what not to say. And it certainly cannot walk into a room full of strangers, identify the right person, and turn a 60-second conversation into something extraordinarily real. Now, here's the part I need you to hear most clearly. The reps who are scared right now, the ones lying awake wondering if AI is coming for their job, most of them are scared because whether they know it or not, they were already doing AI's job before AI showed up. Data entry, templated follow-up, surface discovery, showing up with a slide deck and reading it to the customer. If that was your value, you have a real problem. But here's the harder truth. That was never supposed to be your value. That was never the job. That was the noise around the job, and AI just exposed it. The human who knows how to use AI as a launchpad and then execute at a level AI cannot reach is the most valuable person in any room right now. That is the new separator. And the gap between that person and everyone else is growing every single day. How are we doing so far? Is this making sense? All right, let's talk more about this human premium. Let's define it concretely. Because I'm not interested in giving you a philosophy without a framework. That would be useless. The human premium is the compounding value of 3 things that no model can replicate. And I want you to think honestly about where you actually stand on each one. Number one, situational intelligence. This is the ability to read what isn't being said. The tension in the room before anyone has spoken, the shift in body language when the budget conversation comes up, the moment the deal is about to go sideways before anyone has admitted it out loud. The skill is not teachable from a textbook, and it is not buildable from training data. It is built through reps. It is built through failures, through sitting in enough rooms and getting it wrong enough times that eventually your instincts start to sharpen into something reliable. AI has data. You have scar tissue. Those are not the same thing. Number two, trust under pressure. Anyone can build rapport when things are going well. Okay? It's not tough. The client likes you when the product works, the timeline holds, and the numbers are clean. The human premium shows up when the deal is at risk, when the competitor undercuts you, when the delivery slips, when the customer is looking for a reason to walk and they are quietly testing whether you are going to fold or fight. What do you do in that moment? How do you hold the relationship? How do you absorb the pressure without transferring it? How do you give them a reason to stay that is not automatable? That is the human act. And the best in the business have done it so many times, it looks effortless. It's not effortless. We've talked about this over and over again. It is built. Number three, belief transferability. This one is the separator. AI can present data. It can build a technically flawless case. It can generate a pitch that checks every logical box, but it cannot make someone believe. The best reps in this industry, hell, the best reps in any industry, the ones who close the rooms that shouldn't be closable, the ones who get the meeting nobody else gets, they don't just share information. They transfer conviction. We talk about this over and over, the transference of belief and conviction. They make the person across the table feel something before the analysis kicks in. That happens through a story, through presence, through the kind of earned credibility that only comes from having actually lived what you are asking someone to trust you on. That is a human premium, and it is growing more valuable by the day. All right, now let me bring this back to the Waldorf. So I'm sitting in a panel session, four men up on stage, genuine legends in the industry, and the people who have built, funded, scaled, and exited companies that have changed medicine completely. The kind of people that you completely study and venerate, the kind of people that you definitely want in your corner. And one of the guys up there on stage starts talking, and he's giving just some excerpts from his career and things that he's done. And I feel it immediately, the way he's thinking about people, about leadership, about what actually drives business. It was just resonating at a level that is really hard to explain to somebody else. But it just, you know how when you're vibing with someone and you're just on the same levels and someone's saying just makes so much sense. That's what I was experiencing when I was in this room. And so here's what I did. I used AI to find him on LinkedIn in real time and sent a connection request to him right there in the session. 30 seconds, done. And then I shut the phone off, put it down, and I just paid attention, glued to this individual. All the individuals are fantastic, but this one in particular, man, it was impressive to watch. And then I decided to do something that AI will never have the ability to do. Fortunately enough, I was sitting right in the front row, and when that panel ended, I stood up, walked straight to the front of the room, introduced myself, looked him square in the eye, and asked him if he'd be willing to have a mentoring conversation with me in the coming weeks. He said yes. We talked a little bit about who I was and what I've been doing and how I was so impressed. And then he talked about systems and doing your job. So I instantly knew that he was a Patriots fan. And so I was able to call that out, and I scored some points with that as well. But we're now connected, and I may have just found one of the most significant professional mentors of my career. Now I want you to think about that sequence for a second. AI got me the connection request. That was easy. My preparation, my presence, my ability to walk up to a perfect stranger and make them feel in 60 seconds that the conversation was worth having, that is what got me the yes, not AI. That's the human premium in real time. And that's what I watched happen over and over again at LSI this past week. The deals that were actually getting made, the real ones, the ones that are going to matter, were getting made by people in those conversations that I mentioned in the opening, over drinks, in the hallway, going around corners, by people who walked in and prepared and then executed at a level that no automation could ever have scripted. The smartest operators at that conference were not fighting AI, and they're certainly not afraid of it. They were using it to eliminate the noise, the low value, the repetitive work that used to eat up their time so their human energy could go exactly where it matters most. That is the model. That is what winning looks like in 2026. You let the machine handle the process, but you show up fully, presently prepared for the practice. And the leaders who figure that out first are not just going to survive this transition. They are going to create distance between themselves and everyone else who's still arguing about whether AI is a threat. It's not a threat. It's not a threat if you know what you actually bring. I want to speak directly to the rep sitting in their car right now. Maybe you're between calls. Maybe you just got off of a tough one. Maybe you've been reading the headlines and the quiet fear has started to get a little louder lately. I've got 3 questions for you, and I need you to answer them honestly, not the way you'd answer them in a performance review, but the way you'd answer them at 11 p.m. when nobody is watching. Question 1. What do you do that AI genuinely cannot? And be specific, not general, not I build relationships. What specifically do you do, in which moments, with which customers, in which conversations that a model cannot replicate? If you can answer that clearly, you know your premium. If you can't, that is the work. Start there, today. Question 2. Are you investing in the skills that compound? Presence, trust, situational intelligence, belief transferability. These are not soft skills. They are the highest value skills in your profession right now. Are you actively developing them? Are you studying the conversation that went wrong and figuring out why? Are you putting yourself in rooms that make you uncomfortable so your range expands? Or are you coasting on process and hoping that the disruption does not reach you? Question 3. Are you using AI as a launch pad or a crutch? This is a tough one because both are happening right now. Some people are using AI to eliminate the noise and become sharper humans. Others are using it to do less. Less preparation, less thinking, less presence, and mistakenly calling it efficiency. One of those paths leads somewhere. The other leads to exactly the outcome you're afraid of. I'll tell you which one I chose at the Waldorf last week. I used every tool available to me to walk in prepared. And then I closed the phone. I trusted what I've built over 25 years, walked up to an absolute legend in this industry, and made something real happen that no algorithm could have ever scripted. That's the move. Prepare with everything available to you, then execute at a level that only you can reach. So here's what I'm going to leave you. The reps that are going to win are the ones who always knew the job was the relationship. AI didn't change that. It just exposed it. The human premium is real. It is growing, and it belongs to the people who are willing to do the work that can't be automated. The human work, the presence work, the belief work. That starts now, not someday, not when the dust settles. Now. Do it now. Do it here. Do it today. That, my friends, is episode 23 of Eyes Wide, the podcast. If this episode hit, please share it with a friend. Send it to the rep on your team who needs to hear it. Send it to the leader who's having this conversation at their next POA or next regional meeting. this is the episode for right now. If you are a sales leader or a company that wants to bring this conversation into your organization, reach out. Craig at eyeswidecp.com. This is exactly what I do. I'm going to go ahead and close this episode like I close every episode. But before I do, please make sure you like this episode, comment, and do not forget to share it with others. It's how we help to build everything up. So let's go ahead and close it out. You know what's coming, and reminding everyone that this life is what you make of it. The future you is waiting patiently to meet the current you. Continue to work to find your tomorrow in today and keep the promises you make to yourself. Until we meet again, eyes wide, see everything. Goodbye.